Pricing your services can be extremely challenging, especially if you're just getting started in business, right? How do you know what that right amount is? And how do you know if you're charging your worth? Most of all, how do you convince your potential clients to pay you that set amount? To talk about these things and discuss some mental models and ways to think about this, I talked to my guest Aliya Rajah on episode 17 of My First Business podcast, and I think you'll find that helpful. We talked a lot about getting coaches, getting rejected, building up self-confidence, and much more. If you like this video, go check out the full episode. I think there's a lot to learn from Aliya. Without further ado, here's Aliya on pricing. Pricing.
Okay.
So you're in service business, you do coaching, you do corporate training, you do workshops. You're basically charging for your time and your intellectual value, and you have to determine the value for your clients as well. And I'm in a similar kind of industry. A lot of the work that we do is intellectual work, and it's not factory produced widgets that we're working on. So I just wanted to understand your philosophy on pricing today versus when you first started. So what are the differences that you've seen in trying to come up with that magical number, whether it's for individuals or for corporates? Like, what are the building blocks on a very, let's say, general level that can apply to other service businesses as well, right? How do you come up with pricing or 4 years ago versus today?
Gosh, I think you just took me back even, asking that question. And I was thinking about me a few years ago when I was, started doing this for free initially, because while I was training, you start by just getting those practice clients, not charging anyone and building the confidence to coach. And so doing that initially, when I started this, I decided straight away that I'm going to get a coach and mentor. I was like, I could spend ages trying to figure this out, or I can kind of fast track my way a bit by getting some help, learn from someone who's already been there. And that's what I did. We went through this together, and then it got to a point where he said, right, you need to start charging for this now. And I was like, you know what? Especially, I think, in this line of work for coaches, as coaches, we just want to just do good, just help people, just help. And then it's like, oh, if I'm to put a price on that, that makes me a bad person. How can I do that? That feels wrong. I should just be helping and giving. It feels wrong to then it feels like I'm wanting to take from them. So, I had to do a lot of money mindset work around that. I think it really starts with that, is understanding that it's energy exchange as well. You're providing a service, you're providing a lot of value, and understanding that the energy exchange, with that is, financials. It's getting paid and it's money. So I had to do a lot of kind of work on myself in that regard initially to start. And it was just kind of with small packages, something I felt comfortable with. I think it's always good to start with something you're comfortable with. Because
what was the first price that you remember?
It was literally like, if I talk in pounds, so it was about like £40 a session, something like that. But I didn't do it per session. I did it per like 6 sessions. So it was kind of around like £250 for like 6 sessions. So that was my kind of initial package back then. Obviously, it was scary to charge that. But I was like, it's not too scary that, I can't, but it's enough for me to say, okay. So it kind of started from then. And then I think really it just, for you, as you start to grow your confidence. And by the way, I'll be honest here, I'll tell you the story actually. I did 4 sessions with someone and 3 sessions. And then it got to the point where he said, right, okay, we've done 4 sessions now, the free sessions. Now I'm going to tell her if she wants to continue, she's going to charge, this is the amount. So did the 4th session. And then I said, right, if you want to continue, as you knew, it was 4 and this is the option. And it was that kind of, oh, thanks, but actually, I don't know if I'm going to continue right now, or like, it's great. Can I come back to you? All that kind of stuff. And I was really I'll be honest, I cried. I was like, I was ready for this. And I was like, it's okay. And I was like, let me learn how to do this. Let me learn, because at the end of the day, it's all about, and this isn't about manipulation, by the way, because I think there is that kind of line where people can think when you say you want to learn, it's not about that, but it's about the way you deliver the message of, hey, this is the service, if this is the price point, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, it was just a matter of, obviously, as I've kind of built the services, the different clients I work with, and just knowing the value. I think obviously the value that I offer in the coaching only goes up. I mean, I've invested thousands in my own mentoring, my own coaching, courses, workshops, And so that's what I bring to the coaching. It's not like an hour session. It's like hours and hours and thousands of pounds that I've invested in myself and the content and the knowledge to be able to deliver that. So I think as that increases, that then is reflected in, your price point. It's either like 2 different weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and it's a set price. So, I don't do the whole like one-off coaching or one-off sessions unless it's like, look, I've got a presentation or I've got an interview coming up. But on the whole, my kind of way is about taking people on a journey. And so the best way to do that is to work with them over a period of time. And I think it comes with that level of commitment as well. I want people who are committed, not like, let me just try this and, if it doesn't, whatever. But of course, I offer a complimentary discovery call. And sometimes that's up to an hour with the person. And so we really kind of delve deep and see if we're a right fit. And then based on that, so they pick the 2. But no, it's the 2 set, that I have. And of course, my workshops and then my trainings, they're all set prices that I have and that, again, have felt comfortable, over time and that feel right.
How did they become set? I'm guessing a bit of experimentation happened. Did you try really odd numbers? Did you try going more than you ever think you would ask for and then come back down? Was there a process to get to something that's a bit more set in stone?
Yeah, I think a couple of years ago I did do that and I knew it was a jump. I knew it was a big jump. But I tried it and it didn't feel quite right, or, it was reflected in the way I delivered it. And I thought, actually, let me come down and do something that feels more comfortable for me to then be able to say.
About experimenting with prices, I'll give you a bit of context of why I asked this as well, right? So I've been in sales for my entire career. So as a new grad with a degree in finance, the only job I was able to get was one that required cold calling 40 times a day, 5 days a week, 30 days a month or whatever it is, and hit my targets. And it was insane because no one teaches you, pricing, negotiation, not as manipulation, but as negotiation, as energy exchange. And I'll ask you about energy exchange in a bit as well. And I brought that kind of mindset into the business where Alina and I, when we work together on pricing, because she doesn't have that sales background and she has that help attitude, I just want to help out, I want to help small businesses, there's always been a reluctance in either moving that level up. And then we talk to other agencies that do what we do, but charge 3 times more, 4 times more. They might be less experienced than us too, but they do it with such confidence. And so we're always kind of finding different ways to experiment with pricing. First thing that you said is something that we're trying to do is like something that we've done is set the scope of work. This is what I do. I don't do any more bespoke stuff because that's interferes with your pricing strategy. Every time you try to do something bespoke or a one-off kind of thing, you have to redo the whole thing. Okay, it's going to take me this much effort. It's over 6 weeks and now it's not going to continue. Is it going to continue? So from that perspective, what kind of experiments of these price points and how often do you, let's ask this, how often do you check in with yourself? Am I charging what I'm worth? Did that happen throughout your journey?
Yeah. I think, as you mentioned, like you have to learn how to sell, right? And what I realized early on is that the coaching is only one part of this. And then the business side is very different. Like they're 2 different hats. And so I had to learn the skill and the art of selling. And so this is where my mentoring came in. So when I was still in London, I would have a sales coach. Actually, when I moved here as well, he's in the UK, but I'd go back and forth. And I had a sales coach and mentor that I worked with, and we did a lot of this. And then my mentor's following on from that. And it was like, what feels comfortable? And I would have to be coached around that as well, and coached into what is it that you're offering? So we'll talk about the transformation that I take my clients on, and that's what you've got to think about. It's not just a session. If you think about it, that you're really devaluing what it is that you offer. But, they go from being someone who is like, they shy away from opportunities. They don't speak up. They lack confidence in themselves. They're not looking after themselves, their fitness, their health, well-being. And then suddenly they're getting themselves out there. They're being active. They're speaking up at work. They're presenting, getting promoted, starting businesses. I mean, there's ROI there as well for them. But like all of these things, like you can't put a price point on that, right? So it's looking at the transformation and being like, what is the value in that?
Yeah. It's not as the fitness industry has it nice, right? They can do a before and after picture and put a tag on this. Like, this is you with a big round belly. This is you with 6-pack abs. And here's how much it will cost to get there. And it's so clean and clear. We're lucky that in our business that we do have measurable ROI. So when we do our work for our clients, we run an advertising agency, and every time we run ads, we can directly know which ad gave us how much revenue for that client. So we can do the math and be like, okay, we contributed X amount to yours. But the point I'm taking away from this is, especially for Alina. So Alina and I listen to these podcasts like off around our work hours to kind of learn and improve. And she's never had sales training, but she's such a natural. But at the same time, the confidence to be able to charge your worth is something that, you know, she knows that she needs to work on as well. So maybe I can recommend that as working with some sort of a sales coach to kind of charge what you're worth, because a lot of people are worth a lot more than they ask for. Right?
Yeah.
I work with some people sometimes and I just look at them and like, wait, that's it? That's all you're going to charge me for everything that you're giving me?
Yeah.
And they're quite happy to take it.
Yeah.
As well. So,
I mean, to add to that, I've been in that situation as well, and I personally haven't valued it, and I've actually not gone to certain masterminds or groups because I felt it was too cheap and I didn't think that it would be good. So for me, like, again, it's that perception of if something you feel is underpriced or you think it's not worth a lot, you don't think it's going to be good. And yes, of course, a higher price doesn't always mean it's going to be good, better, but that perception is there. I've personally found that on my journey as well, as I've gone through the past few years, when you charge less, people want to negotiate more. They want to like try and bring down the price. They want more of your time and this and that. But as it increases and your value increases and your worth increases within yourself, you start to attract clients who it's just a lot more effortless. It just flows more, a lot better relationships as well.